So, hi there once again. I have wonderful news. You know, I was saying yesterday in my previous video that I couldn't promise when the next update would come because I don't work on everything every day. And that's true. I don't sit in front of the computer every day and hammer out code. I come in spurts, and sometimes I will hyperfixate and work on things for days on end, and then sometimes I'll go a week without even looking at it. Well, I was thinking about things at work last night, and when I got home, I had to try some things, and uh, the easy version of the story is we have a dungeon renderer. Now, there are some things that still need to be implemented. Of course, a lot of stuff in the original game was hard coded for the starting position of the player and some of the other things like monster positions and stuff on level 1 anyway. So there's still a lot to do. Obviously, there's no monsters yet, no items, no player health bar with a little beating heart, no input handler yet for the text parser. So yeah, there's a lot left to do. However, as you can see, we have a fully functional dungeon renderer, and on top of that, we also have levels 2 and 3. Well, we actually have all the levels, but I haven't got a way to spawn you into the other levels. I just created these spawn points for level 2 and 3 as a test, so I could make sure that the dungeons were generating properly and rendering properly. I was a little concerned that after the first level generated, if I tried to generate one of the other ones, something crazy might happen. It shouldn't have, and it didn't, but wanted to test it just to be safe. Anyway, as you can see, we have access to the first 3 dungeons, and I gotta say, I'm pleased with the results. Now, there are some minor issues that I have to take care of. Really, that comes down to translation from the original version to the resolution differences. We have some pixels that overshoot. If you look, like right there on the walls where the floor lines meet the corners, they overshoot by a pixel. It's a minor detail, but let's see, right there, you can see it. Yeah, but I can fix that. Now, of course, obviously the secret doors are not normally visible unless you have a magic torch, but I'm showing them here for testing purposes. So as you can see, yeah, we've made a little bit of progress. So next will be the text renderer and the input parser. That's going to be next. Then I'm not sure if I'm going to start working on either sound, maybe sound. I'm not sure if I want to tackle sound yet or not. So the thing I'm thinking about with sound is, I've always hated how the Amiga's sound is very hard left, hard right, and it doesn't need to be that way. I mean, you can bond a left and right channel to make a single sound. Of course, this reduces you down to just 2 voices, but Dungeons of Daggorath, I believe, only created 1 sound at a time anyways. So, knowing that, what I would like to do is create a 2-tiered sound system where 2 sounds can play at once, but they'll be in stereo. And if, like, let's say a snake does its little rattle thing to one direction, you'll be able to hear which direction the snake's coming from. Just an idea I'm playing with. I'll see how that goes when I get to it, but I would really like to implement some stereo sound and stacking, so you can hear like the stone giants and the sound, or the scorpion or the blob, all at the same time. You know, if one makes a sound and the other makes a sound right afterwards, I would like them to stack. I don't think the way the games like Logic really ever calls for sounds to call twice, but we'll see. Anyway, at the very least, I'm going to have stereo sound, so that's something I want to implement. Also, I think from the main menu, which the original game didn't have a main menu, you just like started into the game, but I want to create a main menu for things like an about. I'd like to have a little scroll page with the text scrolling up the screen talking about the original game, and maybe even excerpts from the original manual. I would like to give credit to all of the people who have worked on this game over the years, including the original creator. Sorry about that. All of the different ports that have come along since then. So yeah, I would like to, include that information. I would also like to create a soundboard where whenever a sound has been heard in the game, it unlocks it, and you can go into the soundboard and look at the sound samples and go through them and play them. Just a little bonus feature I would like to throw in there, and a bestiary. When you encounter a creature or when you kill a creature, it adds it to the list, so you can go through and look at all the information. Any information that it could provide you about their speed and their strength and anything like that I could display that might be useful for the player after they've defeated a monster if they want to go look at the artwork. And the other thing I'm thinking is that at some point I might redo the graphics to this game, and it would be neat to have the bestiary showing the original graphics compared to my semi-colorful updates. Thinking maybe like using a 32 color screen, or maybe 64 color extra half bright, or 64 actual colors if you're on AGA. Maybe even 256. Anyway, I would like to show the original graphics compared to the updated graphics. Maybe I'll do 3 sets. The original, ECS, Extra Half Bright, and AGA. I don't know, it's a lot of work, but I mean, this is really just a side project to keep me busy when I'm not working on Fuselage. So it's not like I'm going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm going to get a playable game going, add some bonus features, and then I'm going to move on. But I'm kind of enjoying the process here. This was always one of my favorite old games, and I'd like to give it a little bit of attention. So I think maybe some Amiga people who never grew up with this might enjoy playing around with it. And if I get it in a playable enough state, maybe with some CD32 pad support and a few extra bells and whistles, this might be a fun little addition to the modern game development scene on the Amiga. And yeah, so giving to the community, if you want to look at it that way. Showing a little bit of love for one of my favorite old classics. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Obviously, this is not much of a game. You can just run around in the dungeons, and I don't even have like the ladders and the holes implemented yet, but that's coming. So, as the opening of the game says, prepare. In the meantime, you know what to do. Sausages, beer, bacon, eggs, all that stuff. Maybe a little bit of whiskey. Play some Dungeons of Daggorath. It's getting close to Halloween. This is one of them original spooky games, so this would be a fun one to revisit if you've played it before. And if you've never played it, yeah, it's a good game to look up and have some fun with. It plays really well on the Mister. There are emulators for the TRS-80, but I've never really liked any of them. I know it plays in MES, but and I think it actually plays in MAME too, if you can get TRS-80 emulation and MAME set up, which is non-trivial for casuals. So if you want to go that route, do some Googling because you're going to need it. Other than that, there's always the Mister. That's a great way to play this game. Or, hey, get on eBay and get a copy and get an old TRS-80 and have some fun with it. Or hope that I don't give up on this and I finish it and play it on WinUAE or an original Amiga or a Amiga, one of the 500 minis. We're going to have a lot of options to playing this game, and hopefully it's not going to take a whole year to get it done. So follow me. Keep tabs on it. We'll see where this lands. Later.